Celtics winners tonight, 109-100. We have you covered for the next 2 hours here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Going to be joined by Cerrone Battle as well. We're back. Best coverage in town. Back here for another run. Celtics now up 2-0 in the series. Should I even say this? Fine, I will. The Celtics are 44-1 all time. Went up 2-0 in a series. We will break this whole entire game down. Again, we're here for 2 hours tonight. Feel free to react to it at 617-779-0985. Also, we're on YouTube, so if you want to watch the show on YouTube, just go to youtube.com, subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub. You can join the chat as well. So get on in there. Cerrone will join us. We got Skaz as well. Intern Josh is here. So we'll just pause quickly here for station ID. We'll give you the headline. We'll bring in Cerrone, and we will break down the Celtics win tonight, 109-100 over Orlando. They have a 2-0 series lead. We'll do that after the headlines here. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports.
Holiday three, good night. Jaylen forces it up over Shaq. He tied it.
WBCFM and HD Boston, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics now lead Orlando 2-0 after their 109-100 win tonight, led by Jaylen Brown. 36 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He was 12 of 19 shooting, went 5 of 7 from downtown. Had a monster game carrying the team on his back. Got contributions from Kristaps Porzingis, who had 20 points and 10 rebounds. Also took an elbow to the head in 5 stitches, blood all over the court. He laughed it off, though. Came back, went 10 of 14 from the free throw line tonight. 17 points for Derek White, 11 for Drew Holiday, Peyton Pritchard, 14 off the bench. Now the series shifts over to Orlando on Friday night. NBA scoreboard right now. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they have a 115-108 lead right now late in the game over the Heat. Rockets have an 18-10 lead over the Warriors. Red Sox fall tonight to Seattle 8-5. Sean Newcomb, 5 innings, 4 earned, had 8 strikeouts on 97 pitches, but it wasn't enough tonight. Tristan Casas hit another home run, but they lose 8-5. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray, full show, joined by Cerrone Battle, coming up next.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Inbound to Wagner. Final seconds will tick off the clock. The Orlando Magic needed it to be a rock fight. They wanted it to be a rock fight. They were hoping it would be a rock fight in these 2 games in Boston. But they've discovered the hard truth. The Celtics have a better slingshot. The final score in Game 2, Boston 109, Orlando 100.
All right, welcome in 98.5 The Sports Hub, Celtics post-game. Call us. You leaving the game, what are your thoughts? What do you think of Orlando's physical play? How about Kristaps Porzingis tonight? And, of course, Jaylen Brown with a monster game. So much to get into. And we'll certainly lead it off here. Let's welcome in Cerrone Battle, who was with us all last postseason, also host of the Sunday Football Kickoff Show with the draft this week. We'll get into that another time. But, Cerrone, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How you doing, Joe?
Dude, I am ready. I listen, my calendar is blocked until June. I already have this thing going to the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. Tonight was one of the more exciting games this year. Physical, right? Both teams kind of a game of runs. Big shots, Peyton Pritchard had a big shot late in the game to kind of, pull things away a little bit. But, you got it all tonight. Blood, sweat, tears, a man's down, everybody picked him up, right? Like just a lot of things going on here. But what really my biggest takeaway is that Orlando's just not good enough and has to play a certain style. And if the Celtics, who are considered soft and all these other things, to me, still just fight through the adversity and continue to win as a team, and they showed it again tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they matched their intensity. They knew Orlando was going to come out swinging like they did in game one, and then the Celtics matched it. I mean, there was some good shot making by Banchero and Wagner again, but outside of that, it was just smothering defense on both ends, real physical. I thought in the third quarter, again, they came out with even more energy. And as I'm watching it, I'm wondering, does Orlando have the depth to play that physical, throughout a series or for 48 minutes? And it just didn't seem like it. And I thought in the first half, when Mazzulla, a great move by him, he started using his whole roster. Everybody. It was almost like hockey substitutions. You see 3 guys come in, 2 guys go out, and Orlando just started. You can see it wearing on them. And they made their runs. They got their shots and hung around. But I think the Celtics' depth was too much for Orlando as the game went on. And you're looking at Banchero, who's a fairly young dude. He was making his shots, but he was worn out. And you could tell by the foul line. He couldn't make his free throws at times because them guys are worn out. And I don't know if they can keep up that defensive intensity for the rest of this series.
All right, Jaylen Brown, monster game tonight. 36 points, 10 rebounds. He actually made history. So before we get into all that, last night I was, throwing out the questions there, and I'm kind of curious your answer on it. But, I wonder if the Celtics could win a championship without a healthy Jaylen Brown and without a healthy Jason Tatum. Tatum obviously didn't play tonight, listed as doubtful. I thought he would have played, but seeing the wrap on his hand wasn't great. No. And just for the record, it's the opposite hand that he should have had surgery on. So that was confirmed to me last night. But Jaylen Brown got a knee injection. It was reported, and they made it a story. I think we all knew he'd been dealing with it. But I don't know. Do you see any signs of him slowing down whatsoever?
No, not at all. I mean, I thought the second half of game one, he had some energy. He showed some burst. He was getting out on breaks and, he was kind of pulling it back and passing the ball around. But he showed some flash in game one a little bit. But then tonight I was not expecting him to have that kind of life, where he was getting to the basket, beating guys off the dribble, and, he getting that one step on you and it was too late. I didn't expect him to have that. And I didn't expect him to rebound the way he did. He never really rebounds. He's getting double digits rebounds. Something he doesn't do a lot, but he was rebounding. He was contesting shots, things that would bother the knee. He was moving his feet on defense and making plays. So it's like, I didn't see, maybe he's just used to dealing with the pain now and said, hey, it's there. I'm just going to play through it. But I thought tonight he was excellent on both ends, set the tone coming out the locker room. And I don't see any signs of that knee holding him back. I mean, it's going to be a long playoff, but as of right now, as it stands now, if anybody around the league thought they had a chance because Brown was slowed down, you're looking at this game tonight like, man, maybe not. Maybe next year for the rest of us. But I thought it was a great sign for Jaylen Brown what he showed tonight.
So last year, and people can take this as a shot or not, but finally Jaylen Brown played to the potential everyone thought he could. He was Eastern Conference Finals, MVP of the NBA Finals. Like when you get that type of performance, they're unbeatable. But tonight, no Jason Tatum, and he was ready to take on the scoring burden right away. He was efficient. He went 12 of 19 from the field. What's really impressive is he was 5 of 7 from downtown. I know you mentioned the rebounds. That's also very impressive. He had a thunderous dunk, which again, I'm like, well, that needs no problem there.
Yeah.
He did go to the bench with his brace on, not on his brace. He went to the bench for a bit late in that first half. But overall, like, he was unbelievable tonight, and just is playoff Brown. Like, is this who he is? Is this playoff Jaylen Brown?
If it is, then good. I think we'll all take it. If he plays his best basketball in May, I think everybody be on board for that. I mean, he's a good player. He's still fairly young. I mean, we still look at these guys like they're old. He's played a lot of basketball. They mentioned how many playoff games he's been in. But, I mean, if he gives you this in the postseason, we'll take it. I mean, when I first started coming on here with you 2 playoffs ago, the biggest criticism with him was being inactive against Miami in that series. And, well, most of that playoff, I mean, he hurt the hand and all that stuff early on. But he didn't show a lot of energy against Philly and against Miami. And then he comes out last year, finals MVP. And then this year, he's off to a great start so far. So if he's going to play this in the playoffs, nobody's going to have any issues with Jaylen Brown. But I thought he was great tonight. And they needed it. It needed every bucket he got. I mean, Orlando kind of hung around. So if he would have just had an average night, they probably would have lost his game. But he did a little more, way more than average, and they needed it. So I think if there's a playoff Brown, I think everybody be on board for that.
Yeah, get ready for the playoff Brown, playoff Tatum stuff. I'm sure that will get thrown out. But like this is why I wanted to bring this up. I'm not here to do that, Cerrone.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm not here to do that. I think that this is a team. When you think about game 1, it was Derek White and others, right? Drew Holiday when Brown, Tatum, and Porzingis didn't shoot well. Tonight it was Brown, but Porzingis was in on the act. Peyton Pritchard was on. Like, Al Horford had 9 and 10 tonight. Like, and Derek White had a huge second half. So, I mean, just the more I watch the Celtics, like, people want to make it about Tatum and Brown, and maybe the coaches will do that again, look at these guys. But this is a team. You look at the three-point shooting tonight. Yeah, the Celtics shot 37 threes. They want to shoot 60. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and they shot 32% from 3. They're finding ways to win as a team, different ways to win. Isn't that what you want from a team that's, known as a three-point shooting team but can find other ways to win?
Yeah, I mean, they played great basketball, complimentary basketball. Again, the big advantage they have against Orlando in their current, state with the injuries they have is at the guard positions. So Holiday, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, both games 1 and 2 were huge factors on both ends. It's to the point now Cole Anthony ain't even playing no more because it's like we know it's a mismatch for you, and you're gonna throw the whole thing off. They were reaching to put guys in. KCP can't find a bucket against this defense. So they're taking advantage. When playoff basketball is about matchups, Celtics are taking advantage of the matchups. Orlando, I think, made the fatal mistake of saying Jaylen Brown seems hobbled. We're going to put our best guy on it, but we're going to play him one-on-one and see if he can get to the basket. And we're going to give him space on the jump shots. This is the best defensive team when it comes to three-point shooting in the league. But, yeah, he went 5 for 7. It was kind of like, I dare you to make this one. I dare you to make that one. Then it was, okay, we're going to pull up on him. We're going to dare you to go to the basket. And Brown took whatever they were giving him, and they never switched up for him all night because they were so afraid of the Celtics guards. It was afraid of Porzingis and Horford, like you said. So you had to play him one-on-one, so he was able to eat. When they go to Orlando for game 3, if Tatum's not there, I want to see if they double Brown and try and take him away and force somebody else to beat him. But that can get you hurt too with the Celtics team. They're dangerous. But yeah, they play good team complementary basketball, and that's what makes them, I think, the best team in the NBA because nobody else can match their depth when it comes to these situations.
All right, Cerrone Battle's here. We're going to go till midnight tonight. If you want to call in, the phone number is 617-779-0985. I have a few takeaways from tonight that I kind of like the hidden margin stuff that maybe you don't see all night. Obviously, Brown had a great night, and we'll get into Porzingis in a bit, but the Celtics did the little things tonight to certainly get the win. I know people are coming home from the game. We have people in our YouTube chat as well. Why don't we take a call before we take the first break here? Skaz, if you can pot him up. Let's talk to Paul. He's in New Hampshire. You're on with Joe Murray and Cerrone Battle. What's up, Paul?
Yeah, hey, I have one question for you guys after Brown's performance tonight. Is the whole Brown-Tatum number 1, number 2 supposed rivalry, like, that whole Kobe Shaq thing, like, that's far behind this team, right? That there's no friction there anymore, correct?
Does it matter to you, in your opinion?
As long as they win games, that's actually a really good question in return. Like, is there ever going to be a point where, Brown's actually better than Tatum and he's the man? That's a night in, night out thing. They're both number ones, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know. Cerrone, for my case, every time Jaylen Brown did something as a timeout, first guy that greeted them all night long was Jason Tatum.
Yep. And every time he made a shot, Tatum was the one, he had the fingers up. He had the threes up. He was celebrating. He was rooting for his friend. And I think that's the difference between the Shaq and Kobe and all that stuff. These guys are actually friends. They're beyond the stats and the numbers and all the other stuff that some superstar tandems kind of deal with. These guys are genuinely friends right now, and I think they're at the point in their careers. They don't matter who has points, rebounds, whatever, as long as they win the game. And look, when Brown has the matchup, it's your turn to go. When Tatum has the matchup, it'll be his turn. Tatum's going to have the 30-point game in the playoffs, and Brown's going to have another one. They might have games where they both go for 30. And I think, to the call's point, I think they're well beyond that, and it doesn't affect this team at all.
All right, Cerrone, we'll get into some of the other details from tonight. Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn, got cut. And it was a hell of a moment. We'll have more on that. He's Cerrone Battle. I'm Joe Murray. We got Skaz here as well. Our intern Josh is rolling on Joe Mazzulla stuff as well. We'll have it when we get it. We're here until midnight tonight. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray.
perspective. And, you see how I think he can control his environment really well with how he handles the crowd and how he handles the physicality of it. And he can maintain his poise. And he just has a great way about him. And I think that helps us. And I do. I love watching him. I like watching him bleed on the court. I think it's important. And then he comes back in and does his job. So I do like that about him.
All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Celtics 109-100 winners, up 2-0 in the series now. Cerrone Battles alongside Scats is here as well. That was Joe Mazzulla on Kristaps Porzingis, who I have to tell you this, Cerrone. I know that you and I haven't really broken down the Celtics much this season, but I think Kristaps Porzingis has been the second best player in 2025. Mm-hmm. I'm talking, the turn of the new year and then the last 4 months. Brown's been listen, Jaylen Brown was amazing tonight. I'm not going to take anything away. Like we said, if he's going to play like this in the playoffs, that's all I'll ask for, and I won't say anything. But I do want to just credit I was just in chat and somebody, mentions that Kristaps Porzingis, got paid to not do a lot, and I think he's faced adversity his entire Celtics career. Mm-hmm. The trade. He's too soft, right? All these things. He got injured. Can he stay healthy? Well, he did get injured. He did miss time. When he came back, he helped them win game 1 of the finals. There was an article today by Noah Dalzell, if you saw that, he literally played in that game, but nobody knows how he did that. And then he needed surgery immediately. Mm-hmm. He missed the beginning of this year. He comes back early. He was their best player. He took stitches a couple of weeks ago. This guy's tough. Whatever anybody's thought about him, maybe it's because he's a European player. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this guy's tough, and he's good. And although he struggled the other night, whenever he has struggled, he always follows up with a big game. But tonight, he got to the free throw line, and this is one of the things I wanted to bring up about, the things that you may not see, but the Celtics got to the line. He got to the line. Let me just look it up on the box score. He got to the line 14 times tonight, which ties a season high. And the last time he did it was against Orlando. Mm-hmm. So that was a difference early on in this game, the fact that he could get to the free throw line. But the moment of him taking the shot, going down, the blood rushing, him putting the towel on his head and laughing it off, It was psychotic, and I loved it. And this guy, it's like the legend of the unicorn is real, because we know the relationship of him and Brown. They both led the way tonight, and through adversity, I'll say it again, this guy continues to play. 20-10, game 2 without Tatum. That's a huge performance from Porzingis.
Yeah, against this team. Again, this is the number 2 defense in the league. This is what they do. They make it hard on you. They make it hard for you to score in the paint. They're real tough. They make it hard for you to hit threes. They're just a good defensive team that play with a ton of energy. This is what they've been all season. Who knows what this looks like if they were 100% with the other Wagner and Suggs. This was a team that people thought would be a top 4 seed in the East when they were healthy, but they haven't been healthy all season. But for Porzingis, he missed a lot of time second half of the season he was sick or whatever it was. I think it was low management, to be honest with you. But when he did play, he was very good. He was a good basketball player for this team. And you said someone in the chat was saying they paid him to do nothing, whatever. No, they paid him to win a championship. His job is not to win a game in February, against Atlanta. His job is to win a championship. And if this man helps you win a championship, he's worth every penny. It's you rather have guys that are there in the postseason. Hopefully he makes it through this postseason. But he means so much to them. You're paying him to win championships. You're paying him to be a mismatch. Like you said, they were shooting 29% from 3 early in this game and below 40% at one point, but they had a lead because he was getting to the foul line. He had Orlando in foul trouble. His presence was having people collapse on him, and then that's when the Jaylen Browns and everybody else got going because they were so worried about Porzingis. If you notice, when he was out getting the stitches, they kind of stalled a little bit. Orlando kind of made their run because he wasn't out there. He comes back in smiling, back up to a 10-point game. Just him being on the court. A 7-footer with game is worth whatever it is they're paying him. And his guys in this league making Jimmy Butler making $55 million a season, whatever it is. Porzingis is worth, that to the Celtics or whatever he's getting paid. And you just hope that he makes it through the playoffs. But yeah, you would rather have him on the team than in street clothes like you had him most of last year. But yeah, he's worth every dime to this team. He's too important. And against this team, he did what he had to do. They all did. Everyone knows Orlando takes away the three. The last two games of this series, they shoot 35, 37 threes, and they get to the foul line 33 times. That's what we've been screaming about for the last 2 years. Stop shooting 63s. Go to the paint. They're doing it against the team. Okay, you're going to take the three away. We're going to keep going to the basket. You're going to have to foul us. And if they didn't missed a ton of layups early in this game. If they'd have made those layups early, this game would have been over early. But I love the way they're all adjusted, and they followed, I believe, Porzingis' lead by being physical in the paint and not settling for the threes and trying to get their shots and get to the foul line. So, yeah, Porzingis was very important to this team tonight and will be for the remainder of this playoff run.
Yeah, I want to remind people that are saying things about Porzingis, how he's not tough, got a flesh wound, all these kind of things. This is the guy you acquired when you traded Marcus Smart. Like, for everybody that loved Marcus Smart, like, Porzingis is a difference maker.
He is.
And you mentioned the size, 7'2", like, the guy can shoot from three, but this is a physical series. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's this physical specimen and
no, he's not Shaq.
Strength and all that, but like Kristaps Porzingis is, I just asked you if, Brown and Tatum, if they can win injury. Like, not having Porzingis and having those two guys, I'd still bet on it. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
he's the difference maker. It's just and listen, this guy, he could have tapped out, right? He tried to come back. He came back. He had the offseason. He wanted to come back early. They made him stay out. He got sick during the season. They said, no, like, you get right. He got right. And you know what else I want to give him credit for? Towards the end of the year, when Jaylen Brown was thinking about trying to play those last couple of games, it was him that was being the leader, saying, I really hope Jaylen thinks about the team first. And earlier in the year, he called out some of the players in there, I don't want to say toughness, but their lack of focus. Like, this guy who has been injured and missed games is calling out the team. Like, I think he's a part of this. What's going on here? Like, he's just a big part of what's going on. I thought he was great tonight. The crowd loves him. Like, that guy's a fan favorite. I don't know what the future holds for the Celtics, but in whatever games Kristaps Porzingis has played, it's always made an impact. I will always look back at Porzingis and say, that guy was a difference maker.
Yeah, he is. He absolutely is. He's the difference of them being a team that maybe they can win it. They can get over whatever without him. We'll see. But if he's there and is 100%, they're the favorite. He's the reason you can beat OKC. He's the reason you can beat the Knicks if they get past, with the situation they're in. He gives you a shot against Giannis. He gives you a shot against Jokic. You have to have a 7-footer that can play and dictate the game on both ends. Tonight, on the other end, his impact on defense was so big. What's the kid? Isaac didn't even play. They took him out in the second half. Their center, they just said, no, you can't do nothing against this guy. And they started having other guys, just kind of hang around the three-point line because they're like he's blocking everything. He's contesting everything in the lane. He rebounded. Him and Horford tonight, they combined for 20-plus rebounds or whatever it is. And that's with him missing time because he was getting stitches. He was dictating the game on both ends in the paint, dominant in the paint. He was catching it in the post, catching them on mismatches all night, and kind of getting the hockey assists because guys were rotating because they were so scared of him. You need him to get out of the Eastern Conference, and you're going to need him to beat whoever you face in the West, especially if it's the Thunder when they got Chet and all those other guys down there and Isaiah Hartenstein and those bigs. You're going to need that big and that skill of Porzingis if you're going to win a championship. It'll be much. You might be able to win without him, but now you're banking on Cornette and now Horford to make it through without getting tired for the next month or so. But Porzingis is key to this team, and he's the difference from them being a good team and then being a championship team that can win back-to-back.
I just wanted to remind everybody. So today is what, the 23rd? 19 days ago, whatever it was. Tatum, remember he hurt his ankle and he missed the next game?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Jaylen Brown scored 30 points. You know what happened that night? Porzingis got hit in the face and needed stitches. Celtics won big.
Yeah.
Tonight, what happens? Tatum sits out. Brown scores 30. Porzingis gets hit in the face. Like I said, it's a little bit of a pattern I'm seeing here. I don't know. But I'm just saying, these guys step up when Tatum's not playing. It's just they do.
Yep. And they step up for each other all year. I mean, they haven't played a ton of games as a starting unit. They all missed a ton of games. Each guy just steps up, next man up, and they keep winning basketball games, especially now they're about to go on the road to Orlando. But that's where they were really dominant. It's one of the great road teams in NBA history because the next man comes in, the road doesn't bother them. They all play their roles when they go on the road. And I expect them to play probably even better basketball when they get to Orlando. For some reason, they just focus on the road. But having a Porzingis doing his thing on the road, quieting the other team's crowd, he's getting the dunks, he was getting the layups, he's getting the block shots, getting to the foul line. All of them were doing that tonight. But Porzingis is huge for that. And they all understood the assignment. Okay, Tatum's not there. I don't need to go out and get 40. But, hey, if I get an extra 5 tonight, if Brown gets an extra 5, 10 points tonight, Al Horford gives you 9, 10 points. Holiday gives you double digits. Pritchard gives you double. We filled up the offensive gap. Now we just got to play defense. And they did that tonight. And it's the reason why they're the best team in the NBA. And now they just have to, bury this team when they go to Orlando.
Yep. I agree with you. We'll get into what they do in Game 3. We'll get into that coming up in a bit. I know some people want to get in on the Celtics win tonight. 617-779-0985 is the phone number. Let's talk to Justin. He's in Boston. If you can pot him up for me, Skaz. Justin, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. You're on the air.
Oh, hey. Yeah, so I just wanted to get your guys' opinion. Do you think Porzingis' bloody foul shots tonight were comparable to Kurt Schilling's bloody sock moment?
No.
No, okay.
No. But I know what I did compare it to, Justin. I just got back from WrestleMania in Vegas.
Maybe it's a little too early in the playoffs.
Yeah, I posted the photo of Ric Flair after his fight with Harley Race with the blood on his face. And then I was like, I don't know if I should go Stone Cold Bret Hart. I was thinking about that, which just got into the Hall of Fame, by the way. I don't know, Skaz. Would you compare that one to the bloody sock?
Well, I would just say the Porzingis one was real, so I don't know how you can really compare the two, So, yeah, you can't really fake the forehead cut. So, yeah, I think I'd give Porzingis, the benefit of the doubt on that one.
And by the way, Cerrone, what's going to happen is there is this crowd. I don't want to. I'm not even using the word narrative. I'm not going to use chronicle. Not going to use any of those terms that people want to try to use against just solid basketball analysis, right? There's people are going to call us green teamers. They're going to do it.
Of course. Yeah.
But I mean, it's just fact that Jason Tatum didn't play tonight. And the next best player stepped up and scored 36 points. And the other guy that they got had 20 points, 10 rebounds, got to the line 14 times, was a difference maker. Oh, and got 5 stitches to the head. But, it was part of the storyline tonight because of the way that Orlando plays. So, for those people, we're not green teaming. That's just fact, reality. And to Skaz's point, it's real. It really happened. So I just had to say that because I know that there's people out there
it's coming.
And what's coming is, well, look at Jason Tatum when the way he plays in the playoffs versus Jaylen Brown. Get ready for that.
Of course. But a lot of the times they take away the fact that when Tatum's on the court, for example, game 1, he was a plus 23. Part of the reason he struggles to shoot because there's 3 guys staring at him every time he has the ball and everybody else is eating off of him. But tonight it was kind of like I said earlier, they weren't sure about Brown, what he was going to do. He was getting the one-on-one coverage, and he did exactly what he was supposed to. I'm going to the basket. You play me to drive, I'm going to the basket. You sag off me, I'm taking the 3. It's my comfort zone. He's an all-NBA player. This is what he's supposed to do, go out and get those numbers. Porzingis, hey, you're elevated to number 2 tonight. You got to get your numbers and do your thing. And Porzingis getting hit in the head. Look, as much as we get on NBA players for not being tough, for flopping all the time, where they got to zoom in on 4K to see if the guy was even really touched when he's holding his lip or something like that. You watch this man get busted in the head by a 7-footer, and the blood immediately run through the top of his head. And he's laughing and comes back in the game. It's like, for NBA standards in 2025, it might be the toughest play you're going to see all season. But, I mean, he did his thing. He came out there, kept playing, performed, and he played hard. And shout out for Al Horford, too. He bowled somebody in Orlando and kept moving like it was nothing to. So I love the fact that the 7-footers out there throwing bowls. They're being physical, but the Celtics were the team to match the physicality and come on top. So I'm not here for any slander when it comes to Porzingis and toughness, because today's NBA, that might be the toughest thing you're going to see the rest of the way.
All right. Well, I want to ask you if this is tough, if it's Bush League, if it's cheap, regarding Caldwell-Pope and his antics tonight. I'm actually trying to look at the box score. I
think he made 2 shots.
Saw him out there tonight, but just, not sure what kind of impact he made. We'll take a quick break. We'll get into that coming up on the other side. Cerrone Battle's here. We got Skaz as well. I'm Joe Murray. Let's get to the headlines here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics now lead the series 2-0 over Orlando after their 109-100 win tonight. They were led by Jaylen Brown, 36 points, 10 rebounds, 5.
Wagner finds Banchero on a curl, goes past Horford. Porzingis waiting at the rim, so he hands off to Carter. Kick out of the left side, driving in Caldwell-Pope to 17 feet. Jumper no good. Another rebound for Jaylen Brown. He's got 6.
Wow.
And we got a foul here, and in the backcourt, Al Horford is furious. He is walking away, puts his hands up in the air, walking away to a standing ovation.
Let me tell you what happened. What happened was Caldwell-Pope grabbed Al Horford and tripped him.
All right, back here at 98.5, the Sports Hub. He's tripping. Cerrone Battle alongside here. We got Skaz helping us out. Going till midnight tonight. Celtics win 109-100. Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Cerrone. He's a two-time champion. Was with Denver, I believe.
Yep.
And maybe the Lakers.
Yep, he won the bubble championship.
Mm-hmm. Which I count. I know some people don't, but I do count it. But and I mentioned this to you earlier, but I respect the way Orlando's playing. I know that people won't, right? Because it's this is Atlanta Hawks against the Celtics in 2008, right? The Jaja Pachulia team, right? And it was a Josh Smith and those guys. Even Al Horford was on that team, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So they went 7 games with one of the greatest teams of all time. Like, the way that they had to play was that physical style because they knew they didn't have the talent of the Celtics. It's no different than this one. Like, Banchero is going to be a nice player. Wagner's a good piece. He's everyone else is a bum if you ask me. Wendell Carter's okay. He could probably play for another team. But Pope is just out there mucking it up. He's trash. I don't know how else to say it. He's a garbage player. He played 34 minutes. He had 3 points. So I don't know when that must have been junk time because I didn't see it.
He hit
go ahead.
He shot like a free throw jumper, and he banked it from straight on. It was an ugly shot that went in. It was like his only real bucket.
Yeah, whack. 3 points, 4 rebounds, 0 for 6 from 3, 1 for 9 shooting, 2 fouls. So was it a trip or not? I mean, they're trying to get this up. Like, let's just hypothetically say Pope does something and Porzingis or even Horford reacts. They're going to get ejected, and it will help their team. And he's just out there right now mucking it up. And, I guess Mo Wagner was talking trash off the bench. I know it's Franz Wagner. That's a pretty decent player. I don't know why I said Mo, but whatever. Either way, like, this is the only way Orlando's going to be able to at least hang around in the series. So I am interested to see what happens in the next game. But tensions rose. Al Horford called out Pope after the game. He thought that there was something extra there. And this was the quote that he had. I just threw it in Slack. He thought it was intentional. He told Gary Washburn of the Globe, "I was starting to run on a break, and he got into me there and impeded my progress." They did look at it, and they said that it was nothing. Yeah. So overall, though, I do think Horford's getting frustrated, but I think Pritchard's laughing it off, and the other guys are laughing it off, and even Porzingis laughed it off.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a way of Al motivating himself, like thinking, he's got real beef out there. He's an old school player. He's from a different era of basketball. So whatever that gets him motivated, so be it. You see, he looked like he was trying to get after him, and the next thing you know, Al goes to the complete opposite side of the court, stands in the corner by himself. It's like he's playing the game too. He understands the gamesmanship behind it, and he understands what they're trying to do. It's like, I can't go out here and get a tech or get thrown out of this game. I understand what they're trying to do to me here. Was it intentional? Maybe not, but just so happens, coincidentally, it was Pope that got tangled up with him. But look, this is, like you said, this is what Orlando has to do. They have to stay in it. They have to figure out a way to keep these games close enough that way Wagner and Banchero can try and steal one for them. My only concern, I actually hope it happens. What happens when Banchero and Wagner go cold? They're going to have a stretch where they can't make a shot. And I think you can see Orlando in one of these next couple games struggle to get above 80 points if that happens. I mean, these two, they've been on fire. Banchero and Wagner been excellent. And they would have 85, whatever, in the first game. Had 100 tonight. they're struggling to score, even with those guys being hot. So if one of those guys go cold or both of them, it's going to be real ugly for this team. But they have to keep playing defense. But I think, like I said, when we opened the show, I think this physical play, this mental thing they're trying to do with the Celtics, physical play with them, it's defense, it's wearing them out. And I don't know if they have anything else they can do besides say, we're going to have to play a up and down game, and hopefully our younger legs can keep us in it. But I think they're really running out of options already, and they're just 2 games in.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I think the Celtics in game 1 could really get out into transition well. Mm-hmm. But tonight, I don't think Orlando was allowing that.
Yeah.
The Celtics finished with 7 fast break points. So that was an adjustment on that end. And the Celtics, they figured it out. They made up for it. You know how? Getting to the free throw line.
Yep.
They went 25 of 33 tonight. Orlando, 15 of 24. If you look at that, that's the difference in a 9-point loss, Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention is second chance points tonight. Celtics had 1 second chance points, 20-10 tonight. They had 13 offensive rebounds. Orlando had 7. If you remember, the Celtics gave up 8 offensive rebounds just in the first quarter of game 1. So as far as the rebounding edge, the Celtics, I was going to mention this, but I think that they've made great adjustments at halftime, and their third quarters have been outstanding.
Yeah, they've been the tougher team. It's we can question their toughness. Is this player soft, or are they soft as a team? Whatever. This is the toughest team defensively you're going to face in the playoffs, and they out-toughed this team. They were the tougher team. They got on the glass. They were physical with them. They was bodies all over the place. Got guys getting elbowed on both sides, but they were the more physical team. They were the tougher team. They were the deeper team. You got Cornette got burned tonight. Porzingis and Horford, they're running 3 centers at you all night. They're running 3 guards at you. They got a bunch of wings. Hauser really didn't get it going, but I expect them to eventually once his defense really gets tired and gets stretched out. But they were the more physical. They were the tougher team, and Orlando it's all we got. There's nothing we can do about them. They're better at what we do than we are, and it's a tough spot. And you can see the frustration on the coaching staff's faces later in that third, fourth quarter. And I don't know what other adjustments Orlando can do going forward.
I don't know either. They're going to have to just somehow maybe Tatum doesn't play the next game, and Brown and Porzingis struggle.
Cool.
I don't know.
That's possible. It's very possible.
Maybe the players you're talking about, who else can step up for them? Maybe they play better at home. On that note, though, I want you to think about this. Would you play Tatum on Friday night? Think about that. We'll go to break. Feel free to call in if you'd like at 617-779-0985. There's also an interesting moment going on in Golden State that I want to hit on as we're doing the game right now, because, the Celtics have, Derek White loses his teeth. You got, Jaylen Brown playing with a knee. You got Porzingis and his unicorn bleeding. They're just, I don't know. To me, they've been showing toughness. I don't know what some of these other teams are showing there. So we'll pause quickly. We got more with Cerrone Battle. Should Jason Tatum play on Friday night? We'll get into that coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On
Right back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Well, I watching this Golden State game versus the Rockets right now, Cerrone, and Jimmy Butler took a fall, dude. It hurt. I saw it. I felt it in my back. Like, he's out for the game. He, I believe they called it something to do with like a pelvis issue.
Yeah.
He hit the ground hard. Yeah, so it's a pelvis contusion. Will not return tonight. But his fall. And then did you watch clutch player of the year, Jaylen Brunson, the other night, flopping around on the floor?
That was one of the worst flopping performances I've seen in a long time. He flopped the whole second half.
Clutch player of the year, by the way.
I don't know how. I don't know what clutch moments did the Knicks have.
I don't know at all, actually.
How are you 0-14 against all the top teams and be known as the most clutch player in the league?
Our intern Josh is very upset when we talk about New York. I already have New York. I already have New York out of the playoffs, firing Tim Thibodeau and Mike Malone taking over. Like I already have that happening. But the other thing I just wanted to bring up was, did you notice the other night, like Tatum, he had a good game if you really look at it on paper.
Yeah.
But did he shoot well? No, all that. But then, SGA struggles. Anthony Edwards struggles, but all anybody wants to talk about is Jason Tatum, right?
Yeah.
And, then you want to tell you how boring the league is and the ratings are down, yet did you see what was the most watched game?
The Celtics game. This is what, a 7 million, something like that.
So, last night I tried to be the hype man and be like, here we go. Jason Tatum's got the wrist injury. And it's both his wrists now. He's got the bad one already that he needs surgery on, and he hurts his other one.
Yep.
So now he's got two bad wrists and an ankle that we don't talk about much. And then Jaylen Brown's got the knee thing. And I'm just, can they win without them being 100%? And then the Celtics go out and do this tonight. And I just watched Jimmy Butler take that big hit. I mean, he took it. He got right up and left, but I think he knew. Once he hit that floor, hey, I gotta get this checked out. So yeah. I just everything that I see going on, I just want to, like, now if I was at the poker table, I'd throw more money on the Celtics after just watching the rest of the league tonight.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. That last part you said is key. Watching the rest of the league, and you point to the ratings. I think it's the highest rated first round, first couple games, like in 25 years or something ridiculous like that. I mean, people are tuning in there watching these games. And, coincidentally, it's been the least amount of free throws or fouls or something like that called for the first few playoff games in like 25 years. So they're letting them play. They're letting them be more physical. And people are enjoying it. And the Celtics game was the highest rated of all those high-rated games, which I was surprised that people would be willing to watch Orlando lose to the Celtics. But people are watching. And that's a good thing for the league. But if you watch the rest of the league and watch some of these other teams play, that's what boosts your confidence in the Celtics. It's like, wait a minute. Some of these teams, even though they got 50 wins, these teams are bad. They're sloppy. They're all over the place. They have no depth. It's like, who are these people on the court? Some real bad situations around the league. Yeah, OKC's out there beating people by 50, but outside of them, I mean, look at Miami tonight. They were 10 seed. They were down 20. Next thing I know, it was a 4-point game with like 3 minutes left in Cleveland. Cleveland was like a 500 team the last couple weeks of the season. And look what's happening with the Knicks. I'm sorry, I hate to bring up the Knicks on you, man. But look at the Knicks in this series against Detroit. Indiana with Milwaukee. It's okay, Dame's going to come back. Yeah, they'll be all right. No, it was the same story. They went out there and got cooked by the Pacers again. And it's like you look around the league, and you're like, yeah, the Celtics might just be the best team in the league again. And like last year, Joe, we sat here and everybody said, yeah, but they're not playing nobody. Yeah, but when they get to the next round, they're not playing nobody. That's because there's nobody to play. There's no dynasty on the other side. OKC might be on their way to that, but there's really no dominant team around the league that you say, yeah, man, when they get to them, it's going to be a problem. Outside of the Thunder, I give them their respect. But it's just, you look around the league, it just makes you way more confident with the Celtics team.
All right. Well, I asked you a question. I said, what do you think the Celtics should do? with Jason Tatum. We'll get into that first. Let's get to the headlines. We'll get you caught up on all the scores, including the Red Sox game tonight here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Studios. The 18-time world champion Boston Celtics are looking for number 19.
Tatum pull it out.
Hear every playoff game right here. Your home for Boston Celtics basketball. WBCFM and HD1 Boston 98.5 The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics now up 2-0 in the series after their 109-100 win over Orlando. It was a big night for Jason Tatum, who led the way with 36 points and 10 rebounds at 5 assists, as well hit 5 threes in the win. Kristaps Porzingis, another double-double, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 5 stitches. Yep, took an elbow to the head, bled everywhere. He looked like Ric Flair versus Harley Race, or even Stone Cold versus Bret the Hitman Hart. He even talked about WWE in the postgame show. Speaking of the postgame show, we're here until midnight tonight, and we're reacting to the Celtics win. They're up 2-0 in the series, and now Game 3 will be on Friday night. Will Jason Tatum play? You'll have to find out and get our thoughts in a minute here. One game underway at halftime. Rockets, they have a 60-46 lead over Golden State. Jimmy Butler left the game. He's out with a pelvic contusion. Cavaliers, they got a 121-112 win over the Miami tonight. They take home court with a 2-0 series lead. And the Red Sox tonight, 8-5 losers to Seattle. Sean Newcomb pitched well, 5 innings, 8 hits, had 8 strikeouts, but gets the loss tonight. And former NFL player, part of the 85 Bears, Steve Mongo McMichael, also was part of the 4 Horsemen in wrestling, passed away at the age of 67. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update in 30 minutes.
New England plays here.
Down the right side, there's a separation. Touchdown pass. Yes. Perfect dive from Drake May.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
We're going till midnight tonight. I'm Joe Murray. Cerrone Battle's here. Programming note tomorrow night. NFL Draft Show. We're going to be live from the Brook Casino. Just over the border in Nashville. Live free and play. Excuse me, in Seabrook. I don't know why I keep doing that. But it's Seabrook. There's, out here, Cerrone, we have casinos all over the place. Just like, but no, tomorrow we're going to be in Seabrook, New Hampshire, which is, if you know, Cerrone, you got to go past Salisbury Beach on 95 and just keep going. Just follow the water, and then you'll see the brook. It's beautiful in there. Oh, and they have a restaurant in there called Nine Dragons. That is the sister restaurant of Kowloon.
Oh, so, put that in my Google map.
Yes, your partner Alex Barth's going to be with me tomorrow night. So you know him; he's been all over the draft. You guys have been doing it every weekend. So maybe I'll get a thought on the draft before we get out of here today. So I've asked you. You saw Tatum in the wrap in his hand. Does he play in Game 3?
If he can play through it, if there ain't nothing else he can really do to it, I'm playing him. And the reason I'm playing him, I'm trying to end this series as quickly as possible. I don't want this thing going back and forth. I don't want Jaylen Brown with that knee taking several flights from Boston to Florida. Let's get this thing over with. Let's end it. And if Porzingis can play through getting his head busted open, and Jaylen Brown can play through a knee bone bruise or whatever it is, Tatum's going to have to play with that wrist. I know it's a shooting hand and all the other stuff, but I want him out there. Do you have to play him 40 minutes? No, but I want him out there. And I'm trying to win this series and get this thing over with so everybody can rest and get better. If you can beat this team in 4 and watch these other teams go into these long, stretched out series, have at it. I want to see the Cavs go back and forth from Ohio to South Beach on flights all week. I want to see the Knicks go in a 7-game series with Detroit. I want to see the Pacers and Bucks go 7 while we're at home resting for a week and a half. Let's get this thing over with. And so we're not that team that everybody's waiting on and we're worn out. because I think that cost them 2 years ago when this long series against the Heat. I think if they would have beat some of the teams earlier, Milwaukee, whatever, they might have won that series and wouldn't have been so tired by the time they got to the Heat. But I think this series has to end early, and I'm playing Jason Tatum, even if it's for 20, 25 minutes. I'm playing Tatum, and I'm getting this thing over with so we can all rest.
So I'm a little shocked he didn't play tonight, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Listed as doubtful. You know, I will say Mazzulla was a little different at practice yesterday regarding Tatum. Normally he's like, yeah, he's fine. Like he's been saying that about Jaylen Brown all along, really. But Jason Tatum, it's a wrist. You mentioned it's his shooting hand. The other team is playing physical. I mean, when he played the other night, did he look like he was bothered by the wrist? I didn't think so.
No, after that play, he played right through it. He was still rebounding the ball, and he hit it. He hit his only three after that.
Yeah, and in a way, this isn't a take. I wonder if Tatum not being in the lineup makes the Celtics a little bit more. I don't want to use the word dangerous. The fact that the Magic can't shoot the three. Mm-hmm. Getting somebody else on the floor who might be more of a 3-point specialist could end the series earlier. I know that they're at their best. They're at their best with Jason Tatum out there. I can't even get the words out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I thought he'd be out there tonight, and he wasn't. So now I'm starting to wonder a little bit if they're just treating this the right way, and maybe you don't play him on. Let's just look at the other side of it. They don't play him on Friday, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say they win. The closeout games in Boston on Sunday. In Orlando on Sunday. Would you then play him there to close it out to see what he has, and then you get some days off? I just wonder if it's worth maybe giving him another game.
Yeah, I guess it's how bad is it really? Is it really painful? Is it something that's on the brink of is a crack or something in his arm? Who knows? But I just want, like you said, that brace kind of makes you look at it like, okay, maybe there's something really wrong here. But look, I don't want this series to go longer because remember, coming into this thing, we were questioning should Jaylen Brown even play the first 2 games of this series. So I don't want him in this long, drawn-out series that's clearly physical and guys are getting beat up and thrown around. I want to get out of this Orlando situation as quick as possible. And like I said, if I'm playing Tatum, I'm only playing him 20 minutes or so. If the wrist is really bothering him, I'm going to see how it goes. Can you give me another quarter? Can you give me another 10 minutes? And if he's fine, it's not bothering him, I'm going to let him go out there, let it ride. But I'm playing him because I got to win this series and get it over with. I know they've been a great team on the road, the Celtics, but I don't want to give Orlando no life. And I think today, by waiting to the last minute to say Tatum's not playing, I think it kind of steals you a game because no one knew how they were going to play. Orlando, there's no game plan on what they look like without Tatum because he's always there. So they kind of were caught off guard. They're kind of on their heels. And now if they go into another game expecting Tatum not to be there, that gives them a couple of days of game planning, getting the film together. Okay, we're going to double here. We're going to trap here. And, I don't want to give them any type of advantage. And I would even dress Tatum. That way they don't know if he's going to play or not. I'm not going to say, he's playing. And then he goes and then gives you 5 minutes. But I'm not giving them any edge of thinking they got us figured out now that Tatum's not out there and they can game plan for that situation. So, no, I'm putting Tatum at the very least in uniform on Friday night.
What do you think's the biggest liability for Tatum playing? Is it shooting? Is it the fact that Orlando's playing physical and could hurt his hand? Is it him falling? There's got to be some drawbacks to playing him, right?
Yeah, I think this is the physical play, the swiping, when he goes to the basket. They all know he's hurt, so what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to swipe at his arms. They're going to pull on him. When he drives to the basket, they're going to, like Porzingis today got shoved into the 5th row, going to the basket. Jaylen Brown got shoved in the back going to the basket. You don't want Tatum to get shoved like that, and he hits the frame of the hoop or something like that, or falls into the chairs or something like that. That can happen in any game, any series. It can happen in practice. But I think that's what you're worried about. I don't think you're worried about him missing open shots or anything, or missing his free throws or anything like that. I think it's the physical play and them going a little extra because they know he's banged up. And like you said, they're desperate. Some guys, I think Cole Anthony would be the first one to stand out to me as somebody who would, not swing on his arm, but do something to his arm. He was kneeing Pritchard in his hip in game 1 over and over again. I mean, he learned from his pops, Greg Anthony, former Knick, classic dirty team. So he knows all the tricks, all the little things, but that's the way you win. That's playoff basketball. And I think that's the concern. It's like, you need to sit this out because I think they're going to be out here kind of gunning for that arm. And I think that's the biggest concern for me going forward in this series. I would,
as much as I thought he'd be out there tonight, just watching, because here's the deal. If I'm expecting Orlando to play better. I'm actually going to get a betting line during the break. I'm curious because tonight it was 10. They covered Orlando. It was They lost by 9. So I mean, I guess it was right on the number, right? So I'm just curious if it's lower, like 6 or 7. If it's a little higher than that, maybe they expect Tatum to play. I'll get that during the break here, but I'm just looking at it. You mentioned the next series. I was talking to Skaz about this off the air, but I think Detroit's going to win. I really do.
I think they are too.
I just don't think they can be bad boy Pistons against the Celtics and compete. I think they need to be like the Pistons that we saw them play a little while ago. So that's what I mean by you might have to try to get out of this series. I'm not saying alive, but just eliminate Orlando, and then you won't have to worry about the injuries anymore. I hope people don't think I'm worrying about the injuries. I'm worrying when you should play Tatum because of the way that Orlando plays is whack. Like, they're a bunch of bums out there. I don't know how else to say it. So the only thing they can do is try to slow you down and hit you. And we've seen this. This is playoff basketball. This is what you do. But just wondering if one more game, you take care of business, they become lifeless and desperate. That's why I don't want to see him out there on a cheap shot.
Yeah, that's it. That's spot on. I mean, it's you're concerned about the cheap shots. You're concerned about the hard fouls. When Tatum gets downhill off that high screen, he's going to the basket. Is someone going to push him in his back? Is someone going to meet him at the rim and just grab his arms like they did the last time? And Tatum, he goes to the basket. He plays hard. He rebounds hard on a defensive end. You got that side of the ball you got to worry about. These guys are already out here, playing real physical down there on the block. He likes to get in and rebound like he did in game 1, going for a rebound, going for a loose ball, diving on the floor. Would he be hesitant to dive on the floor? I mean, these are things you're going to be worried about for the rest of the playoffs. But I think when it comes to Friday night, you're really going to be looking at that. And Orlando knows if they lose that game, that's it. And I could see them being real desperate. Now, I'd be worried about that. But at the same time, because of how desperate they are, I'm trying to end this thing and get it over with and get my team as close to 100% as we can. Because, look, anytime you can get practice time in the playoffs is a huge bonus because these guys don't practice enough. If you can get a week off, a week and a half off, because the Knicks and Detroit are just going this long series, get sleep in your own bed, you get practice in, you get everybody healthy, and you're going into the second round probably healthier than you were before you even started this playoffs in the first place. So I'm trying to get this thing over with by Sunday.
This Badetsi guy, 4 fouls in 8 minutes. You mean to tell me he wasn't out there for a reason tonight?
Okay, yeah. Think about it. They played him and they benched Isaac, who's been playing for them all season, and they benched Cole Anthony. So their whole point was let's bring guys in just to hammer people and be physical. Look at the guys who played tonight and look at them how they played all season. And they just threw guys out there to just waste fouls and be physical and try and, they're not going to shoot threes. So if they go to the basket, just slap them upside the head and send them to the foul line. That's what they were doing. And you saw the results of it tonight.
All right, let's go back to the phones here at 617-779-0985. We got Ryan's in the car. Let's pot up Ryan if we can. What's up, Ryan?
And they benched Isaac, who's been playing for them all.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Big fan of the show. Actually, Joe, first off, wanted to say big fan of yours in particular. I was actually the intern for Zolak and Bertrand when you found out you got the night show gig. So,
oh, man, how you doing, buddy? Appreciate you.
Hey, how you doing, man? I've always considered it a cool thing that I got to be even a small part of you finding out you got that gig. You were always amazing to me whenever you subbed in. Guys are subbing in all the time because it was the summer months. Everybody's taking their vacation. So good deeds don't go unnoticed, man. You were always great to me. But wanted to say, first off, the Celtics, man, I've got them winning the whole thing this year. I don't think including OKC Denver, Cleveland. I don't think any of them are the all-around package that the Celtics are. And it's not the hottest take in the world to say that they're going to win this year. I don't think they're going to win it all in 5 games like they did last year. But my hot take is going to be that I think they're going to win in 2026 too. They're the most all-around team, and I don't think anybody stands a chance against them.
Well, Ryan, appreciate the kind words. I do have them going back-to-back. I haven't even thought about a Western Conference opponent yet. I'm trying to get past Orlando first. Because I'm on game 3 right now. I'm already thinking about game 3 and how they should approach it here. But yeah, listen, you could bet on it if you want. It was 3 and change. Now it's plus 200. I do want on the other side here, Cerrone. There was a big bet that the show hit this week.
Oh yeah,
regarding one Peyton Pritchard, and I wanted to talk about his night. And by the way, there's things that get lost. Bench scoring. I wanted to bring that up on the other side. So Cerrone Battle's with us. We got Skaz. We got intern Josh. We're here until midnight tonight. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray.
floor. Drives around Carter. Bounce pass to the cutter. Pritchard under the basket. In a lot of traffic. Shot clock winding down. He muscles it up and in. Scored and a foul. The clock was winding down on Peyton Pritchard. The walls were closing in on Peyton Pritchard. But as he has done off the wrap, his sixth-man year, he squeezed through two defenders, pushed it off the glass and in. Will go to the line with a chance for three that may be the deciding blow.
Well, it was the deciding blow. And it helped put the Celtics back up double digits after a little run from the Orlando Magic. Peyton Pritchard, sixth man of the year. And a big shot for the Green tonight. We're back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Cerrone Battle alongside as well. We're going to be here all playoff long. Playoffs long? I don't know what the grammar is on that one, but we'll be here. So Peyton Pritchard, sixth man of the year. I'll do one more victory lap, but we mentioned that he would be the sixth man of the year. The reason why I picked it, Cerrone, was because Jaylen Brown said it. Jaylen Brown goes, Peyton Pritchard's going to be the sixth man of the year. He's the most improved player on the team after winning a championship. And we had Noah Dalzell on last night. She's a reporter for the Celtics, and she had like an interview with Pritchard that talked about how in the offseason he gave up drinking alcohol. He beefed up. Even Skaz said it tonight. He looked beefy, like stronger, like he's been lifting weights. He plays playground basketball against random people in cities. That shot that we just heard, that highlight, that was a playground shot. He went to the basket, up faked, got into trouble, didn't know where to go, looked outside, split two defenders, stepped forward, laid it in, was off balance. Like, that's stuff you see the little guy at the playground do. Mm-hmm. And it was a huge basket tonight. And, I just wanted to bring up, just when it comes to the bench in this series, I know it's 2 games, but being up 2-0 and taking care of home court, it means a lot. I mean, the Cavs did it tonight. I'll give them credit, and let's see if they can do it going to Miami. But when it comes to bench scoring, Peyton Pritchard has 33 points in the 2 games. Orlando's bench has 34 combined in the 2 games. I know that they're not getting a lot out of Hauser right now, and Cornette's doing what he can, and they're only going 8 guys, but this is a difference in the series, and another reason why I say the Celtics as a team are hard to beat, because you have one guy carrying the load that's almost better than the entire other team through 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, he makes such an impact on this game, and I thought there was a stretch, I want to say, there's about 2 minutes left in the second quarter, and Jaylen Brown had gotten in trouble a couple times over dribbling. And one time he dribbled the shot clock out. Another time he was just too long. Even the broadcaster said Brown's doing a lot of dribbling. And he started the very next dribble. It's like a minute 30 or something like that left. He inbounds the ball to somebody inbounds the ball to Brown. Brown immediately gives it to Pritchard. Pritchard just hard push up the court. Porzingis hits the screen. Pritchard goes straight to the basket. Throws a lob to Cornette. Cornette gets fouled. And that whole play took about 6 seconds off the shot clock. And then after that, Pritchard starts bringing the ball up. They get into the offense. They get into a little flow. There might have been 2 minutes left in the first quarter, but it changed the tempo of the team. And even when he's not getting the assists or the buckets or whatever, no one rips the ball away from Pritchard when he brings the ball up. One of the few guys in the NBA you never see anybody get Pritchard. He's too balanced for it. He's too smart. He knows when to pick up his dribble if he ever does. Keeps his dribble alive. His head always stays up. Really fundamental. He brings the ball up, gets him into the offense, moving without the ball. He doesn't see the defense when he takes his shots, but when the guys are open, he'll take that one extra dribble to find somebody. Just throwback point guard, classic point guard, good play. And I think at times today he was just overwhelming for Orlando. And then once he starts hitting the shots, it's over. And I said this with Matt McCarthy the other day. I said the difference between the Celtics being a championship team and an all-time great team is when Pritchard, Derek White, and Holiday all have it going, and they've had it going this series, and it just makes them an all-time great team when you have that kind of depth at the point guard position, and you're going to have that edge over everybody, no matter who you play in this league. No one has a Peyton Pritchard coming off their bench that is that good and that important to a team's offense and defense at this point in his career.
He might be in – listen, there's been some great six men in history.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not athletically. I'm not putting Peyton Pritchard in that category. He's a special player. He's not a gimmick by any means.
No.
What was the guy? Microwave Johnson there. He always
Vinny Johnson. Yeah.
Vinny Johnson could come into a game and just literally give you points, right? Like there were guys who could do that. And I'm not putting Pritchard in that category, but I'm trying to use the allotment that Pritchard does in the time that he does play is significant.
Yeah.
And I know that there's been other greats. Again, when it comes to being six men, here there was Bill Walton and McHale did it twice, right? And John Havlicek is, Satch Sanders, a Hall of Famer as a six man, So
Manu Ginobili.
There you go, literally. Like there are guys that can have Hall of Fame careers being a six man. I'm not going there with Pritchard. I'm just saying that his impactfulness. And you know what else he does fantastic for a small guy? He's a hell of a rebounder.
He is, because he's strong. Like Skaz said, he's a strong dude. He's got balance. His perfect balance. I mean, he's built like the running back from Arizona State, Scatterbo. He's built just like him. Imagine how big Pritchard would look if you put him in a football uniform on the field with NFL players. He doesn't seem big when he's on the court with 7-footers, but to us, he'd be a massive guy if you put that dude in pads.
Mm-hmm. Just wanted to mention, I'm watching this Houston Golden State game. Houston was running away with the game, but now Golden State's making a little bit of a comeback. And what's Houston doing? They're playing physical with bad fouls and sending Steph Curry to the line for technical foul shots. It's just, there's 3 minutes to go in the third, but I have a feeling Golden State's coming back. I don't know. Feel like I've seen this too many times in my life.
You don't let Steph get warm from the foul line. That's just. No, you can't let him get going like that. That's a recipe for disaster.
And it's just, I'm interested because I know that someone brought up the Western Conference earlier. I'm not ready to go that far yet, but I have Golden State as one of those teams. I think they got it. We'll see. I want to see how they play tonight and how Udoka has Houston playing. I did want to bring up just one other thing. Joe Mazzulla, we really haven't talked much about it. I gave him credit for his adjustments at halftime. The third quarter has been great. Grandy just posted this a little while ago, Sean Grandy. He went back to when the Celtics were in the Eastern Conference Finals in 23.
Yep.
They were down 3-0. And people thought they should fire Joe Mazzulla. Remember, he got an extension. And since then, the Celtics have played 25 playoff games. They've won 21 of them since. So does he have, you know how there's always this talk about, like in college sports, or especially basketball, coaches matter. In college sports, coaches matter. Do you feel that way in the NBA as we've seen Nick Nurse and Mike Malone and Coach Bud and just all these guys who've won championships get fired? Like, is Mazzulla... I wonder what impact he's making for the team, and I think really it's psychological more than it is maybe X's and O's.
Yeah, I completely agree with you with that. I think he's, with Tatum falling, him screaming, "Get up!" Little things, saying he enjoyed watching Porzingis bleeding on the court. He's a different type of dude, but he's the type of guy that the players get behind. They want to play for. They understand playing hard gets him going, and he appreciates that. And they know if we play hard, we're going to get playing time. We're going to get burned with this guy. And like you said, it's not about execution, X's and O's. Like, he knows the players are good enough. He knows they can run the offense. But in today's NBA, having a head coach that can get these teams to play physical, to play hard, to get your top superstar Tatum to play all the time and not load manage or sit things out. The Celtics are in a rare situation where they have stars who actually want to play basketball. And I think a lot of that falls into a coaching staff that puts toughness into their mindset, and it becomes who they are. It becomes their identity. And I think that's where Mazzulla fits in. And I think now, compared to last year, we were always saying he wasn't really adjusting. He's going to jack up a bunch of threes and whatever works. First round, right out the gate, he's adjusting. This team takes the three away. We're not going to shoot the three. We're going to get to the line. We're going to do things in the paint. And I think he's kind of learning that on the fly. And if he can get the adjustments to match what he's doing when it comes to motivation and getting these guys to play tough, they're going to be tough to beat because everybody else in the league, they got coaching issues, they got toughness issues. They got stars that last year, their contracts. Everybody has issues. OKC's in a great situation because they got all these draft picks and they got young stars. Okay, can you keep these kids living in Oklahoma? That's always going to be an issue. You don't have that here in Boston. Your stars are set. Derek White, Brown, and Tatum, Porzingis, they're all under 30. And you're in a good place with this team. They bought into the coaching staff, and now they're really learning how to adjust and get the mental part right. Yeah, Mazzulla, he's turned into the best scenario for this Celtics team, the way they're constructed.
All right, we'll hit the headline here. Get caught up on everything happening in the sports world as well. And I wanted to ask you about the new ownership group. Wonder how that's going. I don't know if anybody's heard anything about that. Maybe we'll find out. We'll talk about that. As the Celtics now up 2-0 in the series, we'll give you the score. We'll give you all the big box scores, and we'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius.
We're going to be doing coverage all just like last year. I think it's like the third year in a row now.
Yeah.
Just like I'll be doing the third draft party with Alex Barth. Feel like this is like a thing now, every year. I mean, maybe it could be like, Celtics playoff run, NFL draft. It's fun. I just wanted to bring up the Celtics ownership situation, Cerrone.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Shaughnessy, who I love, just I love Dan, by the way, mentor, great guy. He's always talked about the tomato can game when it was the Patriots. That game after the bye that they would always beat the team. So he thinks that Orlando is just a bunch of tomato cans.
Yeah.
So he is like, hey, what's going on here with the ownership group at the game? Like he's watching it and he sees Steve Pagliuca, Wick Grossbeck, and new owner Bill Chisholm all sitting together, like at half court or mid court. And he said that it was a big bowl of awkward. And he said, for those who haven't been paying attention, Wick's family put the Celtics up for sale last year. Pags tried to buy the team from his partner, only to be steamrolled by Chisholm's $6.1 billion bid. He also goes, this is where White Lotus meets the NBA. He also went on to say, it's like watching Jennifer Lopez at Fenway Park seated next to Ben Affleck and Alex Rodriguez. And also maybe as much as Kendrick Lamar with Drake and Serena Williams at the Super Bowl. Went on to get real old and say Eric Clapton with George Harrison and Patty Boyd, but we're getting way into the weeds on that one. But he talked about the game. Yep, Celtics won, blah, blah, blah. And then, Mazzulla preached physicality and the Celtics were too deep. He goes, his favorite moment of the game was when Mr. and Mrs. Wick Grossbeck got up from their seats with Mr. and Mrs. Chisholm during a timeout to walk the perimeter to meet who? Jason Tatum's mother. He goes, there were more meet and greets on the way back to their seats. It kind of reminded me of something you'd see during a high school game. He goes on to say, is there a tomato can ride at the Magic Kingdom? So I thought that was funny. So is this thing going down, dude? Because I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I think it is. I mean, I know it's pretty awkward, but at the end of the day, you got a bunch of billionaires just sitting there together. I think they get over their issues pretty quickly. It's like, oh, well, I missed out on this one. I didn't have to spend, $5 billion. Guess I get to keep it. But, I mean, look, eventually you get over it. Everybody shakes hands. Everybody's making money. And they just looking around. Man, look at all the money we're still making right now. It's just it's awkward on the outside. But, again, this is just a bunch of billionaires out there having a good time. And I noticed the camera kept putting Vrabel and Kraft on there a lot too.
You saw that tonight too, huh?
Oh yeah, they look pretty cozy sitting up there too. Yeah. But talking about meet and greet, that's what they should have walked over there. You guys figure something out. But I mean, it's all good and it was an intense game. Yeah, you can call it a tomato can game or whatever, but at least they're not playing the 10 seed, Miami Heat or some of these other teams. Memphis down by 50. You talk about tomato can, but I mean, it is what it is, but that's just billionaires out there doing their thing. And look, I mean, it's going to go down. I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this whole thing plays out as time goes on.
Have you watched the Celtic City documentary?
Oh, yes. I haven't seen the most recent episode, but yeah, we've been up on. I've had got my sons watching it so they can see how this stuff really went down. It's pretty interesting. They enjoy it too.
The Reggie Lewis stuff got me, man.
That's tough. Yeah.
It's funny. Maybe it was traumatic as a child and I didn't, and that's why I'm, maybe I blocked some of it out, but I'll never forget that game where Reggie Lewis did defend Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And after the game, Jordan talked about it and they had the clip in the documentary and I'm sitting there and I'm like, this was my childhood. Reggie Lewis was my favorite player. I loved Brian
he
Shaw.
Was that good.
And Kevin Gamble. Like, I'm like, oh my God. And you're right. He was that good. And just watching the documentary, the Celtics get a lot of crap for what they did in the 60s, meaning like, they didn't beat anybody, right? Like, don't you hear that a lot?
Yeah.
But in the 70s, they struggled. They won, but they struggled, right? In the 80s, they had some struggles, but for the most part, it was how long is Larry Bird going to play for, and can Kevin McHale stay healthy? That was the 90s were rough. Patino was bad, and I know you haven't got into the latest one, but that Reggie Lewis era, man, like D. Brown, Reggie Lewis, Brian Shaw, there really was a group that they brought together to kind of lead them into the next, at least like the next group of stars. And they had an all-star to build around, man. It's tough, man. Thinking back on it, Reggie Lewis, I had a Reggie Lewis jersey. He was my favorite player at the time, and I think I just blocked it out because it hurt so bad as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, when they showed the image of him falling on the, collapsing on the court, and, just watching that again like that, could you imagine today, social media and all that stuff, if something like that would have happened? Any of those Celtic stories happened with social media, it broke the internet. But, I mean, the Celtics have struggled in the 90s because they lost their two guys that were supposed to carry them through the 90s, and it's just sad to go back and watch. But I tell you what was crazy to watch, too. I mean, you kind of know it, but then when you see it play out, if Rick Pitino was slightly more patient, they had think about the Hall of Fame players. At one point, Chauncey Billups, you had ISO Joe, and one name that doesn't get mentioned a lot, and I'm pretty sure he was around at the time. I think they had Ben Wallace was on the Celtics team as just kind of a guy they put on the end of the roster and ended up trading him away, I think, for Chris Mills or something like that.
Yep.
But you potentially would have had a starting lineup of Chauncey Billups, ISO Joe, Paul Pierce, Antoine Walker, and Ben Wallace at center. And then you drafted Andre Miller and traded him for Vitaly Potapenko. If you would have kept that team together, they probably would have won a couple championships in the early 2000s. If you were getting to the conference finals with Kenny Anderson and Tony Delk, imagine what it would have looked like if you'd have had Chauncey Billups and Joe Johnson to go with Paul Pierce, Antoine, and Ben Wallace, the defensive player of the year several times over, as your center. I mean, if he would have just been a little bit more patient, it was right there, and who knows how this whole thing would have played out.
Yep, Patino, he ruined the Celtics. There's no doubt about it. And he quit on him on a fax machine. Sucker. That guy's a sucker. Anyways, dude, when you watch the new one, though, no spoiler.
They're there to see me, not you.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine telling that to the team, and they were like, "Man, we're in Miami tonight. Where are we going tonight?" When you watch the new one, though, it's about Paul Pierce and the nightclub, and there was a lot of, man,
yeah,
it's It's deep, man. All right, I want to just one more thing on the draft before we get out of here. So we'll take a quick break. We'll wrap things up, and tomorrow night, we know the Texans are on the clock. What will the Patriots do at 4? We'll ask Cerrone Battle before we get out of here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. All right, final segment here, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Cerrone Battle alongside. We'll be back here again on Friday night for Game 3. We'll be here all playoff long. I got my calendar all booked up till June, so don't bother me, anybody. This is what I'll be doing here. Join me and Alex Barth this Thursday. We'll broadcast live from the Brook Casino for the first round of the draft. The Brook is your ultimate destination for sports betting and viewing, home in New Hampshire's biggest video wall. It's a 150-foot high-def action that runs the entire length of the Vegas-style DraftKings Sportsbook. Catch New England's first pick, plus all the basketball and hockey playoff action. The Brook has an extensive gaming floor with a mix of your favorite table games like blackjack, roulette, craps, and 9 dragons featuring signature dishes from legendary favorites from my go-to spot, Kowloon. It's just over the border, exit 1 off 95 in Seabrook, New Hampshire. At the Brook Casino, live free and play.com. So the Patriots will be on the clock at pick number 4. Who's going to be the pick, Cerrone Battle?
It's going to be Mr. Arms himself, Will Campbell. And I look, I know some people, it's not sexy, it's not fun, it's not the cool thing to do, but it's the position that you have to draft for, because if you don't get a left tackle, it's going to derail everything you've done to build this team up this offseason. You have to get a left tackle for this quarterback. You went out and you got him a receiver in Stephon Diggs, and you're probably going to draft more or whatever. You've improved your defense. You've got a right tackle. You picked up a center. We'll see how good he is as time goes on. But you need that left tackle, and then after that, you build out. The draft doesn't end after the first pick. And I think the one thing getting overlooked out of this whole thing is it doesn't matter who you pick. You pick Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. If this coaching staff doesn't develop these players, it's not going to matter. It's all on this staff, every man at every position, and player development. Develop these guys, and you can get like the Ravens or some of these other teams that draft all over the place and manage to turn these guys into stars. It's all about player development, but I think Will Campbell's going to be the guy for the Patriots at number 4.
All right, he's Cerrone Battle. We'll be back on Friday night, everyone. Great job, Cerrone. We'll catch up then. And Skaz, thank you, sir. Intern